up, guys? So we are kind of cramming for the draft. So today we have a little bit of a hybrid video. Instead of just covering one position, we're trying to get to all the ones we can. So we are doing our top 8 or 10.
I would just say 10. We both have 10 at
Okay,
least.
our top 10 of a mix of defensive tackles and linebackers. So it is our rankings from our big boards. It is a little bit of both groups. I would say for both of us, it's probably around split. So we're going to be talking about the top guys in each group a decent amount to at least cover all the relevant linebackers and defensive tackles. Well, we got our top 10, maybe some honorable mentions for you guys. I think it'll be a quicker episode anyways. So it shouldn't be that bad. But yeah, how you feeling, bro? Yeah, that'll be me. I had work unfortunately today, but tomorrow I will probably be watching tape all day. I might take an hour and a half break to go to the gym. Otherwise, I've just been taking a rest week and watching tape, man. Yeah. Do you want to get right into it? Do you want to go just 10 to 5 and then maybe list some honorable mentions, but see if we have some lined up first?
Let's do 10 to 6. We're not going to mess this up again.
Yeah, my bad. I did mess that up last time.
But yeah, we can do our 10 to 6. I can start if you would like. My 10 is Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech. My 9 is Jake Golday from Cincinnati. My 8 is C.J. Allen from Georgia. Both of those are linebackers. I forgot I have to preface that this time. 7 is Josiah Trotter from Missouri. He's the linebacker. And 6 is Caden McDonald, defensive tackle from Ohio State.
Okay, so for me, I have at 10 defensive tackle Daryl Jackson Jr. from FSU. At 9, I have linebacker Jake Golday out of Cincinnati. At 8, I have linebacker Josiah Trotter out of Missouri. At 7, I have linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. And at 6, I have linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia. So some names there that were similar.
Do you want to talk about Darrell Jackson first? Because I didn't get to watch him.
I'm going to try and find him. I genuinely have no idea. He's the one guy in my other notebook. Most of the guys I've just been like in this same thing.
I know enough about him that I can chime in, but you can probably do the breakdown.
Actually, do you want to – I don't want to look like an idiot here. Was there somebody that – why don't you talk about Golday while I find –
Sure.
And we'll talk about Golday as well, but I'm just trying to find him, and I don't want to take up a million.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, Jake Golday is both of our number 9. And
yeah, he is. That's cool.
Pretty much he is – the first thing I said about him was he has good in-game IQ. Excellent at reading the quarterback and sniffing out the play as it's happening. He's really strong. He's really big as well, 6'4.5", 239 pounds. Not great wingspan for his size, but solid. He has almost 32-inch arms. He is not very fast, but like I said, he's pretty strong. He excels in run defense, but is also extremely solid in coverage. Very sure tackler. Once he's got his arms around you, you're not really going to escape. Biggest issues are that he's not very fast, like I said, and he struggles working downhill because of that. He is also pretty average in pass rush. He recorded 100 tackles this season, 4 sacks, 3 PBUs, and a forced fumble. He had an 82.4 overall grade, 90.6 run defense grade, and he had an 83.1 tackle grade where he only missed 9% of his tackles, 77.5 coverage grade, so like I said, pretty solid. He allowed 217 yards and 2 touchdowns in coverage. And he had good games against Iowa State, where he recorded an 87.5 grade, Arizona, where he recorded a 75.9 grade, and TCU, where he recorded almost a 70 grade. He's also solidly versatile, played almost as many snaps in the slot as he did in the box, so there's that as well. And yeah, I thought overall he was just solid. He has good size, good IQ.
Yeah, so I said he was like he reminded me a lot of like the old school mauling linebackers, but he kind of is like he stands out a lot in this like newer hybrid of generation linebackers that are like usually very light because he is bigger than virtually every linebacker in this class by 2 to 3 inches and has 10 pounds on them. Actually, really good athlete for his size. He had a 9.85 RAS. I know you said his 40 was a little lacking, but I thought his speed was fine. He had a 4.62 40, the 71st percentile for the position, and that's with him being a bigger guy anyway. So he's faster than a lot of guys that are lighter than him. He also had a 10.5 broad and a 39-inch vert, 91st percentile vert, 89th percentile broad. Pretty decent. You know, I thought he was a good athlete for his big size. His sideline to sideline range was pretty good. I didn't think he ever let blockers completely wash him out of play. Like, he's always trying to stay in that play. Like you said, good tackling technique. I thought for his size, he was like a pretty fluid mover in coverage and just overall, like around the field. wasn't really stiff, even though he was big, and he's an elite run defender. That is his bread and butter. I know you said that he does play in the slot, and that's true. He is versatile, but I don't know if he will play at the next level, considering
I agree.
I don't think he
Definitely.
looked good in the slot, really. And he's big where it's like his zone coverage is probably his biggest weakness. He is not good in man against twitchy receivers in the slot, and he is not good in zone, but like I don't really know why Cincinnati expected a guy that's this big to play.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw he had almost 250 snaps in the slot. I was like, geez, this dude is literally sitting.
Yeah, and his blitzing ability is lacking, which isn't great because if you're not really gonna play him against zone and drop him back a ton, you're probably gonna play him really close in the box, and if you can't blitz effectively with him, then he does lose a lot of like his NFL value. I also liked how, like you said, big game riser. He had good games against Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa State, and Arizona this year. Those were all the best teams they pretty much faced. And yeah, overall, I just thought I liked Golday, but I think if you draft him, you have to play him to his strengths. And like I said, his pass rush ability was limited, and the fact that he's not really good in coverage just kind of made him like that's why he's my 9th. But honestly, in my linebacker rankings, he's currently, I think, my 4th linebacker. So it's not like I hate the player. I would probably take Golday early 3rd. But like I said, I think he's not a guy that's going to be able to play on every team. You're going to have to play him on a team that's scheme friendly.
Right.
So, I thought he was fine. I did find Darrell Jackson Jr., though, if you want me to talk about him now.
Yeah, go for it. I'll chime in with what I know.
Unless you had any more thoughts on Golday.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think like you said, he's got to have a good scheme fit to succeed in the NFL.
Yeah.
You got to know how to play him. But if that team gets their hands on him, I think he could definitely be a steal in the 3rd round.
So at my 10, I have Darrell Jackson Jr., a defensive tackle from FSU. And honestly, the more that I look at this guy's profile, every time I'm tempted to move him up my big board a few spots because he just has something that as I watch this class more and more and more, this class really, really lacks, which is elite traits and measurables. A lot of guys in this class, we just talked about the corners, and a lot of linebackers are very, very small. And something I value a ton is that length, and this guy has literally all of that. I think he just stole it from everybody else in this class.
Yeah, like seriously.
Like for real though. 6', 315, 11-inch hands. It's 91st percentile. 34 3/4 inch arms. It's almost 35-inch arms. It's ridiculous. 80th percentile.
That is huge.
And then he almost ran a sub 540, 505 40, 63rd percentile. For being probably around like 300. I know 315, but he probably plays closer to 330. Honestly, he just slimmed down from the combine. Yeah, that's very rare size and strength. Very, very rare. I watched this guy last year thinking he was going to declare, and he stayed at FSU. And last year I remember thinking that he was probably a 3rd round pick, and then he came back, and this year was fine. I mean, he had a 73.1 grade, 88 or 81.8 run defense grade, 57.7 pass rush grade. He isn't really that big of a pass rusher. He only had 1 sack and 13 hurries, but like, dude, you are putting this guy in the middle of your field to kind of just like stuff the run. Tackling ability is pretty decent. I think he's versatile enough to play from the A gap to B gap, so that's nice. Like he's gonna be team versatile. He holds and clogs gaps in an elite level. I mean, like that length just helps him dominate off of his get arms on first, get hands on first, and really just like maintain leverage really well, anchor really well. He reaches and grabs running backs and just stops them in their tracks. Like if they're running by him, it's just this one arm breaks free and they kind of just
literally
boom, arm bars them. But yeah, honestly, like his biggest thing is he just lacks pass rush juice and production. I'm trying to find exactly perfect right here. Like what it was on like PFF. He had a 5.8% pass rush win rate. It's not great. I will say it is better than like Kaden McDonald. So they're kind of similar players. And I think he does lack games against like high end competition. I had all his best games as like East Texas A&M, Stanford, Duke, Carolina, NC State. Like those are fine. And then when he played Florida, MU, Alabama, Clemson, Virginia Tech, like those are some of his worst games. So I'm not a big fan of that. Like against bigger competition, he can play a lot worse. And he is a slower reactor and mover in the line of scrimmage. Like not going to beat you with his elite first step. I mean, his length does help him dictate still like the leverage game. Overall, I thought he was just a really solid player. I thought he was probably a late 2nd to early 3rd type player. Actually, I think I have him like on my big board. He's actually going to be more of a 3rd round player. But I think if he went in the mid 2nd to late 2nd, I would not be surprised because his traits are just so elite. Kind of like the Caleb Banks talks. It's kind of the same thing, except he doesn't have any injuries and he's just a little less flashy than Banks. So if you wanted Banks, he's kind of like your Sam's Club Caleb Banks, who's a lot healthier.
Yeah.
Or your Walmart version of him. So I don't know if you had anything to add with him. I just thought he was really solid, and that length. I think he's probably the most traded up outside of Caleb Banks defensive tackle or lineman in this class.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to do a full deep dive into him just because I ran out of time, but I do know about him a decent amount just because in early mocks for the Packers, I would always
say he might be a Packer.
He was always available in like the third round at pick 84. And yeah, he's freakish. 6'6", like you said, almost 35-inch arms. That's ridiculous. He's 320 pounds. He's just a huge dude. And the way he was moving at the combine, being that big, is really impressive. And I think, like you said, I think that could make a team want to jump up and grab him. That kind of freakish build and athleticism is not common. It's not common, and there's going to be a coach that thinks they can develop him, and he might get taken early.
And he's already a really solid floor player, honestly.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, he already has a decent experience.
But if you think that you can develop that pass rush, then he becomes really dangerous, and that's where I can see you thinking he could go in the second. Because if you have a coach that believe that, then you draft this player.
But yeah, he's definitely an interesting prospect. I'm excited to see what happens with him because I think he could be a very underrated DT in this class.
For sure, yeah. So now, where is Lee Hunter in your top?
He's my 10.
Okay, let's talk about Lee Hunter because he was my 12th player. He was the worst out of the linebackers and DTs mix that I watched. So he was my 12. And let's talk about him if he's your 10. You can start with him because you liked him a little more than I did.
And I mean, to be fair, I liked him a little bit more than you, but I only did 11 players. And the only player he was ahead of for me was Caleb Banks. And we can talk about him.
Talk about him then, yeah. Let's talk about him next.
I did not like Caleb Banks, but we can get into that later. But Lee Hunter. So I had Hunter is kind of like another wall of a player in the center of the defensive line. He's huge and strong. Relies on pure strength to collapse the pocket and disrupt the run.
I think Keenan had a better.
I think Keenan's RAS score was like 2-something.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. But anyway, he also relies too much on pure strength, I feel like. And when that doesn't work, he's kind of screwed when he's either in pass rush or run defending. He's also on the older side. He's like almost 24. The development is probably not in the cards for him. He's 6'3.5", 318 pounds, 33.25-inch arms. He ran a 5.18 40, which is not good. I mean, like for reference, we were just talking about Darrell Jackson, and he's like the same weight, and he ran almost 0.2 seconds faster. He only jumped 21.5 inch for a vert.
That is so bad.
That is really, really bad.
That's bottom percentile. That is easily the worst vert I have ever seen. Last year, before the track season, and I get I'm not 318 pounds, but I'm also not an NFL player.
Right.
So before I was super raw, like I was not at my even close to peak athletic ability, jumped a 26-inch vertical.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the season, it was probably closer to like 29 if I had to guess. There's no reason. I mean, like that he literally jumped like what the average person.
That's
for real. Like, probably around like what the average person jumps.
But yeah,
I'm like, why did he even do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure why he performed the vertical.
That like dropped him because that just exposed. Like I was like, okay, with this 40 in his broad, I'm like, okay, you're a bad. He did that then, and I'm like, okay, you are like a horrid athlete.
Yeah,
like, you are one of
really
the
bad
athletes in this class. So I have no idea why he did that. Continue. Sorry, but that was just
no, you're good. Yeah, no, that's that. Like,
it was funny though because he was on an upward trajectory. He was he had a
he was like he was
he could go first round almost.
No, I know.
And then he had a horrible comment and that just stopped.
Yep.
He just started going back to like probably 60, 70.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you were creeping in the first round. What the fuck were you doing?
I remember there was
Peter Woods kind of did the same thing, man.
There was mocks that had the Bears taking him at like 25.
Yeah. And like he went to the Bills in a few mocks.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I don't think this dude is worthy of a first round pick, but maybe, I guess. And then he had his combine, and I was like, yeah.
You're not a top 50 picking.
But to go along with his excellent vertical, he also had an 8.4 broad, which is not good.
Which is also horrible. Yeah.
He had a 3.72 RAS, which is abysmal. Then But I
Damn.
think the biggest thing for him, obviously, the athletic stuff is horrible. But his main thing was just plugging the gap. He had an 80.9 overall grade, 84.5 run defense grade, literally just because the running back could not get past him. He missed less than 10% of his tackles. 2.1%, 72.1 pass rush grade, 26 total pressures. He had good games against BYU twice and Oregon, so that's good. He hasn't had a below average game since last year, and I kind of classify a below average grade as like below 60 PFF grade. And he hasn't had one since last year. The lowest one he had this year was 61 against K State. But overall, his lack of athleticism combined with like his age and I don't know, he was lower for me just because I wasn't impressed, honestly.
Yeah, so I watched him, kind of thought of the same things. I did think he was versatile. I don't know. I can't remember if you brought that up, but like I thought he played like almost 400 A gap snaps within the last 3 years and over 1,000 snaps in the B gap. So I'm like, you could kind of play him. I'm not sure if he's big enough or athletic enough to play like a true nose tackle, but like if you really wanted to, it would probably be fine. So he is versatile to kind of put really anywhere on your line. Got good size and length. I thought he had a good anchor. Like you said, it's really his one strong suit is his strength and stopping the run. I thought he had violent hands. I thought for his size, I will say his pass production is actually pretty good. 10.6 pass rush win rate. That's a lot better than a lot of guys we just talked about who are pretty much the same size, like double better.
Now, can I jump in with that?
Yeah.
I will say I do have a feeling that's probably because of how good his supporting role players were on the defensive line. Like when you have David Bailey and Romello Height and even like Skylar Gill Howard and then Jacob Rodriguez, like bro, you're gonna get wins. Like that's another thing I didn't mention with him is I just feel like he has a really good supporting cast and that really helped him. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
No, I agree because at 2 years in USF, he only had 2 sacks, and like did have 35 hurries, so he played at UCF 2 years before at Texas.
Yeah, UCF, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I kind of do agree with that. But yeah, negatives for me, horrible athlete, like probably one of the worst in this class. Maybe the worst. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody like who's not really a prospect, but out of the kind of top 100 guys, he's probably easily the worst. Highly penalized player too. This year he had 3 penalties, but then in the last 2 years at 2020 at UCF he had 8 penalties, so 11 penalties over the last 3 years. It's not great for his position. I thought the athleticism showed. I thought he was super stiff, and I thought he lacked really any type of burst, speed, pursuit ability, or lateral agility or ability just at all really. When he's winning, it's not off of any counter moves or off of any like quick step moves. It's really just like his bull rush. So I just think he's super one-dimensional. And then it's the fact that he's nearly 24. Like his athletic ceiling is capped and it's already horrible. And then he didn't really impress me that much. But I will say, like, you do not come across defensive tackles who can play from the A gap to the B gap and have his traits and strength. So just for that, he probably will still be on like my, if I had to say, he's probably like a 3rd to 4th round pick. I mean, it's not like this guy's undraftable or anything, but yeah, he is lucky that he's good at that because otherwise he would be. Honestly, he's kind of like the Rashawn Gary of defensive tackles, except Rashawn Gary was a really good athlete, but in the NFL kind of wasn't. I'm sure you're. So yeah, Lee Hunter, just whatever. I expected a lot more from him because he has some fans, but it kind of seems like they all shut up after his combine. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, dude, honestly, I low-key like the dude. Like, bro, he seems like a really nice guy. On the combine feed, like he was like doing I remember he was doing all those faces and stuff. It was so funny.
Dude, nothing hurts me more than when I know a guy is chill or like funny or just like I feel like I would be friends with him or I really like him as like a person, and I feel like I just dog on him in my report. But I'm like,
no, I know.
Like that was me with Jeremiah Love, bro. Like everyone's like, he's like a 1st overall time. I'm like, bro, I don't even like, is he top 10?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, he just seems like the chillest fucking dude ever.
No, I know.
Same thing with Carnell Tate, man. Like I know it seems like I hate Carnell Tate, but I think he can still be a really good wide receiver too. And he seems like such a fucking cool guy. I forget who it was him and I just was listening to someone's interview and it was Carnell Tate and it was another high recruit in this class talking about how they immediately became friends because they both liked watching like Dragon Ball or something. It was some like
Jeremiah Love, bro. Jeremiah Love was talking about how he likes to go watch anime, bro.
I don't think it was him. It was somebody else. I wish I could think of who it was. But yeah, I remember just being like, I hate being low on these guys that Might have been Avion Terrell, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's a good point. Do you want to talk about Caleb Banks though?
Yeah, we can talk about him.
Man, his range is insane.
Yeah.
I've seen him go top 10 in mock drafts, like 9 of the Chiefs. And obviously, this was before his second foot injury, so I haven't really seen that since that. But, like, some teams definitely have him not even on their board. Like, they're just not drafting.
Like, dude, honestly, I don't, like, we'll talk about it, but I don't even know if I draft him.
Yeah. Well, he is my 11th player, and I kind of feel the same way. Obviously, like, you're like, well, why is he 11? We're going to talk about it right now. Do you want to start, or...
We both have been 11, so it doesn't matter. I can start if you want, because you just talked for a while.
Sure, yeah.
All right. I was gonna pull up his but Banks is a developmental player for sure, as he actually has very little college experience. I feel like literally he did not log that many. He logged less than 1,000 snaps across 5 years at college.
786 in his last 2 years at Florida, which were the 2 most he played. So that's 360, 70 snaps per year, which is not a lot.
Not at all. He is huge and has drawn a lot of attention because of that. He's also very athletic for his size. For the few snaps he played in college, he was solid with okay speed and run defense. He has never really been productive, due mostly in part to injury. I can totally understand the hype over his freakish size. But for me as a player, I'm just not a big fan. I haven't really seen anything like from his game.
Yeah, he did.
He did break it, yeah.
He just like fractured it or something, yeah.
Yeah. He had good games against LSU and Ole Miss in 2024, which was like his biggest season that he played. He had 2 forced fumbles and 4 sacks. Like his measurables are the biggest thing that people are obsessed about. I mean, he is 6'6", 327 pounds, 35-inch arms, almost 11-inch hands. He had a 9.84 RAS score. Like those are the biggest things that people like him for. And he's 23, so he's not like super old.
Inch hands and 35-inch arms are actually like otherworldly. That is, I think people realize how big this dude's hands are.
And like, actually, that is crazy upside for him, just size based. But like for me, when I'm looking at this type of player, very little college experience in general, over 5 years of college. He's had 3 foot surgeries in a year and a half. That does not bode well for staying healthy at the NFL level. And he just broke his foot at the combine. Like, bro, he's not gonna be healthy till July. That means he's not gonna work out until then. And like, so that means he's basically gonna start working out like right before preseason starts. Like, dude, is this dude like what? Where is he going to be used? Is he going to be developmental? Because if he's going to be developmental, he's already 23. Like, you don't have time to develop him. And on top of that, like, I don't know. Other than his measurables, he just doesn't really stand out to me as a player. Like, I get he had a decent Senior Bowl, but like that's really all we've seen from him. He had solid grades across his career, but like other than that, I don't know if I draft this dude. Just like you already don't know what you're getting with like the player, and then on top of that, you don't know what you're getting with the injury concerns. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to look up, and I'm not sure if the combine measures length or span. I think they measure span when they measure hands, but he has virtually the same size hands as Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I'm not just his size. His size is ridiculous.
I think you are. I'm just saying, like, that's people don't realize how insane that is. I mean, like, this dude is insane. That is absolutely insane. But yeah, so for me, kind of a lot of the same things. I thought he was positionally versatile. That was nice. Like, I thought you could play him. I don't know why did I not write down? No, I thought he could play honestly from the A gap to almost like over the tackle, like. He's one of the few players in this class that can do that. Great disruptor with 40 hurries. Showed great power on the line. Impressive lateral ability for size. Like you said, great athlete for how big he is. Great motor. I never saw him abandon a play or anything. Elite RAS score. An alien of a specimen. Like we just talked up Darrell Jackson Jr. and this guy's literally just bigger and freakier. And then, man, like you hear people talk about like the LSU game. Like that's a game a lot of people talk about. A sack, 2 hits, 6 hurries, and 2 forced fumbles. Like people watch that game alone and they're like, man, if he just played like that even a little bit more. You watch that game, you would think he's maybe one of the best players in the class, if not the best player in the class. Like the Ole Miss game in 2024, 2 sacks, 1 hit, 3 hurries, 1 batted ball, and a tackle. Like when he is on, he is on. And this is why people like him, and they see his ceiling. He showed it before. The only thing is he is just very, very limited experience-wise. Hasn't played football in a year, and that's because of his super, super concerning foot injury. He's not a great career tackler. He's kind of a poor processor, I thought. He has a little career production as a whole. like only 6 sacks in his 2 years. A lot of hurries, but kind of fails to convert those to super big plays at times. Prospect on top of this injury is not great. And then I thought his pass rush arsenal remains underdeveloped. He kind of just wins with his length, leverage, and bull rush. And, you kind of need a healthy foot to be able to have a dominant bull rush. So I don't like the fact that he didn't even injure it, playing. It was just, he did not play all 2025. He came back for like 2 games, instantly re-aggravated it. They shut him down. Those 2 games that he played, he looked horrible in. He did not look good at all. And then he broke it after the combine from just running. You're
like
gonna be able to
that
put up
to
with a
me,
season of
that to me
durability.
seems like undraftable in my opinion.
And
if you go to the combine where there's no contact and you're breaking your foot, bro.
Look, because even if you tell me that he comes back and never breaks it again, but just still has to face the setbacks of these injuries, that's already still like horrible. Especially since I didn't really think he was like super refined with his pass rush arsenal and kind of like needs that burst and first step for his bull rush. Yeah, it just wasn't great. But yeah, he is probably one of the biggest what ifs in this class because you don't see guys like this really ever. And you see it in his best games. He is a monster when he is on, but it's just too inconsistent. He's too injured. And it's really too bad, man, because we're talking about a guy that went from potential top 10 pick. Like, I'll be honest, if he played 2025 and had like 2 more instances of that LSU game in 2025 where like he took over a game like that,
Be top 10.
he would be a top 5 player for me, almost guaranteed. But now we're talking about maybe not even drafting him, and there are definitely NFL teams that don't even have him on their board. It's really just too bad because it's not really his fault. Like maybe dude could have stretched better or something, but usually this is bad. Like come along ever. Yeah, I hope. It would be really cool. And if I would love for him, a team to get him in like the 4th. The Vikings are mocked to take him like the 3rd, a good amount. If he, kind of like, hey, proved everybody wrong, as long as it's not for like the Packers, the Lions, or the Bears, I'm cool with that, man. Like he gets Chris Jones comp for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Chris Jones is even as freaky as this guy is.
That's what I'm saying.
Play the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is a great player when he's on. It's just so limited and it's been so long. It's a lot of the it's a lot of the McCoy talk too, to be honest. Kind of the same thing, except I actually like this guy way more. So yeah, it's too bad, but he is both of our 11s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, after that, we talked about Golday. You want to talk about Trotter now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Trotter, and then I remember CJ Allen was in both of our top in this range, right? All right, so let's talk about Trotter. Trotter was what for you?
7.
Okay, I think he was 7 for me too. Yes.
Bet.
So we were actually very with him. So I kind of want to talk about Trotter if that's fine. I know I just talked about Banks, but I really like this guy, and I just watched him today, so he's kind of fresh, but, like, I initially had him somewhere, and then I thought about it a little bit, and I, like, moved him up a decent amount on my big board, because I'm like, no, what he's good at is just so valuable. So he is a redshirt sophomore, was one of the most surprising declarations in this class. Like, a lot of people thought he was going to come back, stay at Mizzou, or maybe transfer to, like, a higher-tier SEC program and then be, like, a guaranteed top 50 pick next year, I guess. But if I had to guess, I think he declared because he probably got good news from the NFL. And, when I heard that, I've heard people say that, I'm like, well, what does that mean? You watch his tape, you kind of get it. Because what he's good at, there's going to be, I feel like, a defensive corner that falls in love with him, and I could really see him going in the second. He started his career at West Virginia, and obviously transferred to Mizzou this year. His calling is that he's just an elite run defender. I was talking to Isaac before this video started. I think he might have the best run defense tape in this class from a linebacker. Better than Sonny Styles, even better than Arval Reese. I mean, it's close, but he's so good. 6'2", 200. Is he 237? Is that? Do you have?
7. Yep.
Okay, 237. 10 and a quarter inch hands, 80th percentile, 32 and a quarter inch arms, 49th percentile, 4'6", 140, 77th percentile, and 27 bench reps, 87th percentile. So he is a pretty damn good athlete. I mean, he has the size you want, he has the length you want, the weight you want. A pretty good 40 for how big he is. His bench reps shows exactly what we already knew and how strong he was. But yeah, elite run defender. Like I said, 89.2 run defense grade. I mean, man, it was just like pro level run defense all over his tape. Great size and strength to play that at the next level. I thought he was a super high level processor and reactor. I thought he had really heavy active hands. I thought he holds double teams well for a linebacker. I was like, damn, you don't really see that often. In single blocks, he just dominates. He squeezes through traffic with agility when he needs to, and then when he needs to just get through, he uses his strength. And he is a great blitzer, man. Like this year, 3 sacks, 4 hits, 7 hurries. They didn't even blitz him a ton, but when he did, I mean, he was producing. And he's so young. He literally just turned 21.
No, I know.
The biggest questions about Trotter is he kind of can't play coverage like Al. He's horrible, just straight up. It's really, really bad.
Like, really bad.
Back, really at all. Anything past, like, 5 yards, I noticed. Like, if you have him really, really shallow, he's kind of fine. But anything like 5 to 15 yards, I mean, he'd have 47.9 coverage grade for a reason. So that's not great. It literally needs a complete rework. It was horrible at the college level. It will probably be even worse. And he also had a 2023 season-ending leg injury, which is something to look out for. But obviously, he's played 2 full seasons since then without an injury. Kind of didn't have that.
I think he's probably fine, yeah.
Yeah. But to me, I just think that there's NFL schemes that won't ask him to drop back that much.
Right.
And even if you, as a coach, think that you can develop it a little bit to where it's like maybe not bottom 10th percentile, but like bottom 30th to 40th, where it's just competent. I mean, the dude's 21, right?
Right.
I mean, you don't need to really add anything to his run defense. So you could just fully develop his pass game over the next 2 years. And by the time he's 23, if he's even a 50th percentile cover player, he's a 90th percentile run defender guaranteed. He's just a scary linebacker for how much size, athleticism, and skill he has against the run and for how young he is. But I'd love to hear what you had to say, if you had any other weaknesses for him or anything, or if you kind of thought this was the same thing.
Yeah, I thought definitely a lot of the same things you did. I thought he was great at diagnosing plays, great sideline to sideline agility. He was one of the smoothest, like when we were talking about corners and smoothness, like I felt like he was one of the smoother guys I've watched.
Wasted movements defending the run.
Yes, no wasted movements. Longer body length allows him to make better open field tackles. Solid across the board other than in coverage. He's great in run defense, pass rush, tackling in general. His coverage was really bad, and that's the biggest question with him. I think my biggest thing is why I have him higher than like even CJ Allen. I think if you get him paired with a good coverage linebacker, I think they could make a really good tandem just because if he doesn't have to drop back into coverage, then he will be excellent in run defense and pass rush. You got a good blitzer and run defender, and you got a good coverage guy. I think that's a really good system for him. I think he could be a great player. The other big question I had that you didn't mention is he was kind of hit or miss against good competition. He had good games against Vandy, Auburn, and Oklahoma, but he also had really bad games against Texas A&M and South Carolina. So that was just something to look out for. So I guess in that case, in that sense, you don't really know exactly what you're getting.
You said Texas A&M?
Yeah, he had a 55.9 grade.
Yeah, I thought his production was actually fine though. Like he had 1 carry, 6 tackles, 1 missed, and then in coverage, he actually had a really good coverage game. 4 for 6 receptions to targets and 22 yards only allowed. I thought that was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, and I know PFF's grades can be wrong sometimes. It's just like I thought his South Carolina game wasn't that great either.
Yeah, I remember his South Carolina game. He had over 100 yards allowed.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
South Carolina's horrible this year.
I think that the biggest thing that just needs to be addressed is his coverage. If you can address his coverage, and like you said, even make it just a little bit better, this dude could easily be a steal for the linebacker position. We were just talking before this, like you said. We were just like, this dude might be a steal if he can improve his coverage.
Especially since, man, I just like NFLSC's 7-round mock draft, I think he went in like the 5th round or like the 4th round.
Really?
And I was like, he's easily a top 100 player to me. Like,
my gosh, yeah. I think he might be a top 50 player.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But like, I'm like, there's no world where he falls past top 100. I would like personally, he's easily top 65 to 70. And then like, honestly, he's probably going to end as like, let me see. He's probably going to end like around 45 for me. And obviously, like if you were off of run defense alone, like you just needed a run defender, he's probably like a top 5 player on your board.
Well,
you know.
And the Packers don't need a run defender or pass rushing linebacker, but like if he was available at our 3rd round pick, I would take him. I don't like.
Yeah, same with the Vikings.
I would. If he falls past 100, I would be astounded just because of how good he is against the run, and even in pass rush.
He might. Like, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a chance, because a lot of teams
there
do
definitely
like
is.
these smaller hybrid linebackers that can kind of do like everything and not just be a master of one. But I feel like there definitely is a team that is, like you said, going to either pair him with a good coverage linebacker or just have the scheme for him. And I don't know how he wouldn't thrive.
Well, right, and like you said, he's 21. You could still even improve his coverage.
Yeah, so young.
Even a little.
Like, this is just like, it's funny because like people talk about like, oh well, and I get that Arvell Reese is way freakier and way better. But, like, they're like, well, we could just change him to edge.
Yeah,
He's only slightly younger. I'm like, okay, so you can change Arvell Reese to edge, but you just teach Josiah Trotter, who already plays coverage snaps, just to be a little better at it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's impossible.
No.
He has the size, the length, the athleticism, the smarts in the run game. I don't know why none of that wouldn't be translatable to the pass game. Yeah. I get that if you think he hasn't done it till this point, but like he's so young that whatever. I agree with you. We see him obviously very similarly, which I'm glad, because I either thought you were going to not like him at all or kind of agree, and I really wanted you to agree with me because I really I'm excited
to see where he gets paired during the draft, because, like I said, if he gets drafted with a good coverage linebacker, I think he could be a steal.
All right. Is there anybody that we did not talk about in your top 10?
C.J. Allen and Caden McDonald.
Okay, so I have Caden McDonald as my 5th player.
Okay.
And C.J. Allen as my 6th player.
Okay.
Where's Jacob Rodriguez for you?
4.
Okay, so he is my 7th player. So we should talk about C.J. Allen, Caden McDonald, and Jacob Rodriguez as our next players we talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about C.J. Allen, though. That makes the most sense because he's kind of similar. You can start with him, even though.
Sure.
Well, do you want me to talk about him because I'm the higher one? It's up to you.
It's up to you. You started with Trotter, so if you want me to start with C.J. Allen, I can talk.
Yeah, sure. I'll chime in on what I think. I want to hear you talk about him too. He's very
so C.J. Allen, really formidable in the middle of the field. Really solid speed for a bigger guy. He doesn't typically fall for ball carrier moves or like jukes or anything. He's very well grounded. Great sideline to sideline agility. It makes it easier for him to make plays in the backfield. He's a hard hitter, excellent run defender in general. My biggest knock on him is he has poor coverage skills, and he is also not great against good comp. That was the bigger one for me. Like this year, he played against Tennessee and had a 63 grade, Alabama twice. In both those games, he had a 61.7 and a 52.6 grade. Against Ole Miss twice, he had a 64.3 grade and a 48.3 grade. And against Georgia Tech, he had a 52.1. And the Ole Miss game was in the college football playoff, the second one where he had a 48.3. And the Alabama game.
Championship.
In the Alabama game in the SEC championship, he had a 52.6 grade. Like this to me, like when you can't perform like that in the big games, it's really concerning. And he did not look good at all in those games.
Can I chime in really quick? Because I have a big point I want to make about this.
Of course. Yeah, go for it.
So I will say the latter half of the season, which was, I believe, it was Ole Miss. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was Ole Miss. You said you played bad against Ole Miss. Alabama was another one because of the SEC championship.
Yep.
And then
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech was in like one of their last. Yeah, because that's
those were their last 3 games. Yeah.
He had a knee issue meniscus tear where he missed a week, like literally the week before all these games, and he only took a week off from a meniscus tear that was like a week surgery. I thought that was obviously, like, I don't think that he played that. Yes, the first Bama game he did not play great in, but like I know you said this Tennessee game. Once again, I thought PFF's grading system was kind of bugging because he had a hurry 6 tackles and went 2 for 6 targets to receptions and only allowed 24 yards in coverage. Like I thought that was actually a decent game for him. And honestly, Georgia's defense as a whole kind of got their ass whooped that game. Like I don't really put that on him. They let up like fucking 40 points or whatever. But I did look at that, and I am usually one to be like, I don't like that you didn't play up, but I really just thought like that. It was right after the meniscus tear that he was kind of rushed back from. So I did think it was more of that than, anything else, because I thought he played pretty good this year against Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee, which I get aren't good as those teams, but like are still fine teams. So that wasn't as big of an issue. Did you know about the meniscus tear that he had?
I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted, because that lines up like, I mean, obviously, if you think it doesn't, then, you know, he just played bad. That's fine. But I just personally didn't think that was the case for that. But continue, because I want to use, obviously, also had more to say.
Yeah. He had only 370+ grades, which is the other thing. He was good against Marshall, Austin Peay, and Auburn. Those were like his biggest games. And the Auburn one is definitely impressive. I mean, 90.6 grade is really good against a good SEC team. Where he recorded a sack, 11 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and a PBU. Like, that's a really good game.
Good SEC team. And they were ass.
I mean, well, they're not good, but they're an SEC team, I guess.
Yeah, they were fine. I'll give them that.
They were fine. He also was really solid in tackling, 84.1 tackle grade, only 7.8% missed. And he's a really good run defender, 88.6 run defense grade. Not as great in pass rush, 67.7. The other thing that I didn't necessarily like he's kind of like that, like what you were talking about, like that versatile linebacker kind of build where he's 6'1", 230. Like he has decent weight, but like he's not very tall. His arm wingspan isn't great, like 31.5-inch arms.
Yeah.
He has solid hand size, like 10 1/8 inch, but like nothing that stood out to me that much. Like my biggest thing for him is like I don't really see him as a first round talent. And, like, I feel like I see him getting mocked in the first round, like, in every single mock draft. And, like, I don't know. I didn't see it that much.
Yeah. I kind of agree. Right now on my big board, he is 31st, but I haven't watched. Like, I still have to get to a lot of the top-tier O-linemen, quarterbacks. And I know that there's going to be, like, by the time it's said and done, he's probably going to be, like, the 40s. So I agree. I kind of never see him not go in the first. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, you know, I guess I could because he's so close and he is, like, usually the second linebacker. I think he is he my second best linebacker? Yes, he is, not counting Reese. So I get that. Like, if teams need linebackers, so like the Bills, there's like a run in like 20s of a bunch of teams that need linebackers, and it is kind of hard to be like, well, you would like him in 10 picks, just take him, you know? But to me, he honestly reminds me of, he's like Josiah Trotter, almost exactly. He's less toolsed up, and takes a little bit, like, he's worse against the run, although still good at it, but then just is a lot better in coverage. He's also 21, like just turned 21. I thought he shoots gaps like a missile. I thought he was a great tackler with really good technique. Barely washed out of assignments by blockers. Excellent read and react player. Like, I think he's going to be like one of the best quarterback spies in the NFL. Like, his Auburn game, who's their quarterback? Jackson Arnold. That was the only thing he was good at, was pretty much being a dual threat, rushing the ball, and he didn't get past C.J. Allen at all. C.J. Allen, that was like a clinic from him. Read, reacted, and just diagnosed every single time that he thought he was going to break out and stuffed him. And then I also thought he was a great blitzer with solid production. Like, I think what you showed at Georgia is evidence that he's going to be able to be that good of a player in the NFL, which is excellent if you're a quarterback spy. But, you know, his coverage was a little shaky, not awesome. I think he's like a very safe player. Like, he's so hesitant to give up splash run plays that he rarely ever gets like your big force fumbles or, you know, your huge like boomstick plays. Like, he always wants to just solidly wrap up, maybe succeed a yard or two, and like never have like insane highlight reel tape. But he's just like a lot safer in that sense. I wish he kind of did have some more like highlight reel tapes. It's nice to see from your linebackers. You want to see turnovers from time to time. Obviously undersized for position and does lack the length. His hands are actually really big, but like I do wish he was like 6'2", 235 with like an inch on his arms. It's whatever. It's not horrible. And then the injury is something to be aware of. He obviously played much worse after it. I don't know. It wasn't super serious. He probably shouldn't have been rushed back. I know Georgia needed him, but it's something to look out for. That's just kind of like the note But overall, I mean, what was he for you? Because he was my 6th.
He was my 8.
Okay, so we probably view him. He's probably very similar in our range. You know, I would probably take him late first, early second. But I do kind of lean more towards the second round side of that. I just think that he was like Trotter, so young, and played against elite SEC competition that I actually thought he looked fine in, like against Tennessee, Austin, and Auburn. Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee, that it's like, I'm not as worried about it. Georgia linebackers, also, I'd be lying if I say they're resume of being really good in the NFL. I love my Georgia players. As much as I hate this team, they always produce some hell of defensive players, especially their linebackers. Their linebackers usually at worst turn out to be average. If you just need like a high floor, high ceiling player, I honestly think that's CJ Allen. But yeah, I was just a little higher on him. Thought he was fine. I guess linebacker class as a whole is just kind of weak.
Yeah, another class that was
for
a
one
little
guy. But yeah, so that's CJ Allen. Do you want to talk about Tatum McDonald? McDonald, because that should be a pretty quick conversation. Honestly,
Yeah.
he has like least notes.
He is the simplest. He is the simplest player
so
ever.
little to scout him. Yeah. You want me to go? Do you want to go?
I can talk about him because you just talked about Allen for a while. But Tatum McDonald, yeah, extremely simple player to scout because he does exactly what he's supposed to do. He fills the gap and stops the run with his size. He is 6'2", 326. He has 32 and a quarter inch arms, 9 and 3/4 inch hands. Like literally, what he just sits in the A gap and he stuffs the run. Like that's what he does.
More snaps in the
or B gap, I'm sorry. Yeah, he had a 91.2 run defense grade, 86.7 overall grade. He had good games versus Texas, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, which is good. That's what you want to see. He honestly doesn't have horrible speed for his size. And as a huge guy, he tends to play slower, and he doesn't really like break down the pocket. Like he doesn't collapse it. He kind of just like slowly breaks it down.
Big pusher.
My biggest thing with McDonald is like you know what you're getting when you draft him. He is
super high floor.
He's super high floor. I guess I question his ceiling, but like I would draft this dude in the first round just because you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
He will stop the run. Like he's gonna sit in the B gap and he's gonna stuff the run, and that's what he's gonna do. Like that is what he would be drafted to do, and
team that needs A gap too. By the way, he just played more snaps in the B.
No, I know.
I agree. I don't really have anything to add. The only thing for me, he had really no pass rush. Only a 4% pass rush win rate. It's not great. I know a lot of people are like they think he can do more than that, and I'm like, I don't think that will really ever be a part of this game. He is very inexperienced snap wise.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Like his first year starting, really. Like last year, he had I think it was sub 200 snaps. And this year he only had 448. So in his career he barely has over 600, which is dude, that'd be bad if you had that in 1 year. Usually these high end starters play more than that. And I get that, if they're in any type of third and long or second and long, he's not on the field, which they usually are because Ohio State's defense is really good. So I guess that's kind of not his fault, but he is pretty raw. I'd be lying if I said that. He's also super young. To add into that fact, which is raw, which, on one hand, you can look at that and say, well, is he inexperienced? Is he going to be able to sustain this level of play with so little snaps? Or on the other hand, you can look at it and say, man, he's only going to get bigger, stronger, better in run defense, maybe add some pass rush production. And then another thing for me, I wish he was a little taller. I wish he had bigger hands, kind of be able to bat some balls down maybe. Yes, he had 27 bench reps, but that's only 47th percentile. And for him being one of the bigger defensive tackles, that's actually worse than 47th percentile, which is weird because on the field he shows great strength, but that, I get it's different, but I thought that would have been better, to be honest. So that's maybe something to look out for. But yeah, man, he's just a mammoth-sized nose tackle who has a powerful anchor and rarely gets moved off his spot. And good luck running down the middle with him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, I kind of had him as a kind of like CJ Allen, where I would think talent-wise he's an early second round player, but if you need this player, you take him in the first, kind of like CJ Allen.
Totally agree.
You need linebacker, you're gonna take him in the first. There's teams that I know the Bears could use him. The Vikings potentially draft him. I think the Bills potentially draft him. There's a lot of teams that just hey, if your run game was bad this year and it's kind of because of your defensive tackle play, then if Tatum McDonald's sitting there for you in the first, well, we don't really know who else to draft. Just draft him. So yeah, it's super basic. I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, that's all I got.
And then now Jacob Rodriguez. He's your 4. He's my 7.
Yeah, we can do Jacob.
Yeah, you just talked about back-to-back players. I think to start, even though I'm lower on him, I'll talk about him because I think we still view him similarly, or at least not too far off big board wise. Yeah, everyone knows who this guy is because let's be real, Super productive Butkus Award winner. I think he was the Lombard winner. He was literally like every single, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, All-American. Literally every award you could possibly give to like a linebacker. Was he the national like Defensive Player of the Year? I think he was.
He was in the Heisman race.
He was. I could be mistaken, but whatever. Like, super decorated. Insane amount of takeover games in his career. I had him listed at, like, takeover games against Oklahoma in 2024, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Baylor, Colorado, and then this year, Kent State, Utah, Houston, ASU, Kansas State, BYU, and UCF. And, like, he had plays where, like, in 2024 when they played Arizona State, he, like, bammed Scatterbo. Like, this guy plays with strength. He does it against good comp. And I know everyone thinks, like, Tim Scatterbo, no one's tackling it. Well, Jacob Rodriguez did. He is a very advanced processor and high IQ. You ever question why he has 7 forced fumbles and 4 interceptions this year on top of 3 pass breakups? Because this dude is always in the right spot, always knowing when to punch out the ball, always a great technique. The amount of interceptions that he had where he deflected it himself and then just caught, or a teammate deflected it and he was in the perfect spot, it gets to a point that's not a coincidence. He knows what's happening, where to be. Excellent trigger ability against the run and on like screens and like slower developing pass plays. Good sideline to sideline range, and I thought he was a great blitzer. They didn't really use him as a blitzer a ton this year because they didn't really need to. They were getting all the pass rush production they needed from their defensive line. But in 2024, when they didn't have David Bailey and they didn't have a lot of these guys, he had 6 sacks, 3 hits, and 13 hurries.
And 87.8 pass rush grade.
Like the best blitzing linebackers in the country. So I think that's a super underrated part of his game that nobody really talks about because he didn't do that much this year. For me, it kind of just boils down to, he's a good athlete. And a lot of people didn't think he was. And a lot of people were like, well, he's not a good athlete. I never thought that. I was never concerned about his athleticism. I was like, you're not this good of a player with bad athleticism. The one thing that was bad that I did think was bad was his size. He is undersized. He's 6'1", 231. He has 31st percentile hands. And 22nd, 22 percentile arms, not a lot of length, not a lot of size, and I really didn't think he was super strong. Like, yes, he bammed Scat because he's a decent enough tackler, but I'm not sure if I was confident in that ability to hold up to the next level. And let's be real, Scott was just also a very overrated player. Sorry, not sorry. He was a good college player.
Yeah.
But yeah, smaller build, 24 years old too. A lot of these linebackers that we just talked about are 3 years younger. Jay Allen is. Even if you you have him over. You think Rodriguez is a higher skilled player than TJ Allen. TJ Allen has 3 more years to develop into this. Josiah Trotter has 3 more years to develop into this. That was a big thing for me. All these linebackers that are kind of around him are 3 years younger, and they're either a little bit worse or, in my opinion, just not worse at all. Like, I like CJ Allen more anyways. He also has little special teams experience, which you might be like, well, that's not great. But a lot of these guys kind of start the NFL as like gunners and special teams, or that's kind of where they like ease their way into playing time. He doesn't really have any of that, like really at all. And then his deeper coverage abilities need work. Like, I thought anytime he dropped back past 10 yards, he wasn't a liability, so to say, but it definitely wasn't his strong suit. And yeah, I just think like at the end of the day, he's undersized and old as a linebacker, and then it's already not that valuable of a position. And when so many of the guys in this class are already not that much worse than him and 3 years younger, it's just kind of a little bit of a turnoff for me in the sense of why would I draft him over these guys? I still think he's a great player, and I would probably take him in like the late 2nd round, maybe mid-2nd round if you really need a linebacker. And I think he's going to be good, but I just kind of question his ceiling because I think there's no way he replicates his 2025 year in the NFL, considering really no one does. Like, Fred Warner doesn't even put up these numbers. And I just think that, like, the length and the strength is just going to kind of, like, he had 23 bench reps, but, like, he's just not big. He does not have a really big frame. And I just wonder how he's going to deal with kind of the bigger running backs in the NFL. But what do you have to hear about him? Because you liked him, so obviously you saw a lot.
Yeah, I've liked him since I started looking at him when I was looking for like off-ball linebackers for the Packers to possibly draft. He was one of the first.
I think that would be a really good spot for him.
Yeah, he was
for me, and yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the first players I started looking at, and yeah, he was the highest graded linebacker in FBS last season. Forced the most fumbles in FBS last season. So just a really big playmaker, tackle machine, basically like Swiss Army knife, can do everything. He produces sacks, he produces forced fumbles, he produces interceptions, he produces PBUs, tackles. But yeah, obviously the biggest knock on him is his size. I'm giving him the D'Angelo Ponce treatment. Like, played in a good conference. Yeah, he's undersized, but he obviously proved that didn't matter that much. Good speed, good athleticism. I mean, dude had a 94.8 run defense grade, 92.3 coverage grade, 93 overall grade, 87.8 pass rush grade in 2024. So when he was used in the pass rush, he was good. Like you said, turnover machine. Like you said, he had good games against like Houston. He had a 92.5 grade. ASU, he had an 81.5 grade.
Yeah.
He played good against BYU twice. Played good against Oregon, even in the CFP. Obviously, the grade wasn't completely there, but he played well. He was pretty average for missed tackles. He does miss a decent amount of tackles, but overall, like this guy to me is like any win now team. Like I just think like of teams that are in win now in the back.
The same.
Like I just think win now teams in the back end of the first, like someone's gonna take him. Like just because he's proven how impactful he can be in game. And if you're in win now and you need a linebacker, like someone in the end of the first round who is competitive is going to take him, and that's where he's going to fall. I would love for him to fall to the end of the second round, like where you have him, like because then the Packers could take him. That'd be great. But I just think I just think like some team is going to take a risk on him just because even though he's undersized, he produced so well in the Big 12, and that's pretty valuable. And he showcased his athleticism at the combine. Like you said, he's not like insanely strong, but I still think 23 reps a bench is pretty good for his size. I mean, he's almost repping body weight for 23 reps. Like that's pretty solid. And then yeah, he had a 9.23 reps. Yes, he's older, but again, like a win now team isn't going to really care that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like skill wise, I just thought he was the second best linebacker in this class, and that's why I have him at 4. But I think we view him pretty similarly. I think he should be a second round player just because of his age and his ceiling. But I wouldn't be surprised if a team took him in the first round just because of how proven he is. He is like a win now type of player. But yeah,
I think his draft day is going to look a lot like.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to follow a very similar trajectory to Nick Eamon-Wari.
Mm-hmm.
Where really, really productive season for both of them. They go to the combine, and they both have really good combine performances. And everyone's like, easily first-round pick. Like, why would you not take, both of these guys? And to be fair, I will say I like Eamon-Wari way more than I like this guy. But
which is fair.
They both fall out of the first round, and everyone's – because I think he's going to fall out of the first round. But I think somebody is going to trade up, and he's going to be taken within the
That's the other thing that could happen.
In the second round. Because you are right. Like, you would have to think that if you're a team that needs linebacker and you're, like, wanting him really badly, you add him, he's a very, very big floor raiser, and he's going to get picks for you, and he's going to cause turnovers for you. And, he might not be as good of a player as C.J. Allen will be in 3 years just because of how, he just lacks some of the things that C.J. Allen has. And obviously C.J. Allen will be a lot younger. But, like, if you are a team that, is lacking linebacker and you think your window for the Super Bowl or whatever is in the next 3 years, kind of like Caden McDonald, if you just want to instantly raise your run defense, just take this guy, man. So I agree. I just think he's a little bit more limited because of his age, and I already don't value linebackers, that highly anyways. But, yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you had to say. And I don't think he'll make it to the Packers pick because I agree. I think someone will take him before.
Yeah.
But I think that would be, like, thinking about it, that's like a good team for him. Like, kind of need like a Quay Walker replacement.
Because and we don't want a Quay Walker. We want a guy like Jacob Rodriguez who actually can play coverage because the biggest thing that we struggled with is Edgerrin Cooper had to play coverage, and he's much better at blitzing and run defense. So if you get Jacob Rodriguez to be able to play coverage and also assist in run defense, like, dude, that would be a great tandem. And then you have Jair Franklin already who can kind of act as like a mentor type of player. I just really like that fit, but like you said, I don't think he's gonna fall to us unless we trade up for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because it's like valuing linebackers are very, very hard, especially when I think it's not like this is like I bet that Allen will go above him, and obviously Styles will, and so it's like these needy linebacker teams kind of already have some players to pick from. I mean, like, Golday definitely doesn't go above him, but like is kind of in that range of maybe you'd just rather have Golday at a later pick. So he could fall. Like, I don't think he's immune to that. He's still an undersized linebacker, but it's hard to say. He is a fascinating range.
It is really interesting. I'm excited to see where he goes on draft day because he's one of my favorite players in this draft class. Like, just like overall, it's just been fun to watch. Like, his highlights are so fun to watch, bro.
Yeah. No, for real. One of the most fun players to watch.
Yeah.
All right, so now do you want to do...
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll just go really quick because I have it up. Uh, 5 for me is defensive tackle Kenny McDonald from Ohio State. We already talked about him. 4 for me is defensive tackle Peter Woods from Clemson. 3 for me is defensive tackle Christian Miller from Georgia. Even though we did talk about him in our Edge episode, I think it's important we talk about him as a linebacker because that's what we think he should both play as, which is linebacker Arvell Reese from Ohio State. And then the number one player on my big board, probably tied for first place on my big board, is linebacker Sonny Styles out of Ohio State.
Wow, we have the same top 3. That is crazy.
Not that crazy. I think Christian Miller is. Well, do we have the same top 4 then? Or 5? Yeah. Okay. So that close. Got it. All right. Well, let's hear yours, even though we know who it is.
Yeah. So at 5, I have defensive tackle Peter Woods from Clemson. At 4, I have Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker from Texas Tech. At 3, I have Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. At 2, I have Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio, linebacker edge, whatever you want to call him, from Ohio State. Yeah. I think he should play linebacker. We've talked about this. And number 1, Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. So, yeah, do you want to talk about Peter Woods? Then we could just go right down the list. Then.
Yeah, perfect. You know, it's funny because the first half of this conversation, obviously, I love talking ball with you, and I would literally talk about, like, 7th-round picks and love it. But I would be lying if I said that all those guys we just talked about, I didn't really love any of them. I like Trotter, but, like, he is enough of a liability that none of these guys really stuck out as, like, kind of like gems in the second round. Kind of like we've talked about some of these guys that I have liked in the second round. This video didn't really have any, but all these guys from 1 to 5, I actually really like a ton.
I do too.
The top of this defensive tackle linebacker class, and it's predominantly linebacker, is really, really good. But all these top guys I'm a big fan of. But yeah, Peter Woods, he is my 3rd, and he is your 5th, correct? 4th. Okay. Peter Woods, his strengths. I think he showcases a nasty first step for a defensive tackle of his size. By the way, he's like an attacking defensive tackle. 6'2", although I believe he played the season at like 315 around. Okay, but I think in the season he played a lot heavier than that. I think he slimmed down for the drills, which is weird. Yeah. This conversation, he didn't really do any combine drills, but whatever. Yeah. 9 and an 1/8-inch hands, that's not great. 31 and a 1/4-inch arms, that's not great either. I had him 29-inch vert. Is that what you had?
Yep.
26%, and an 8'8" broad, 19%. So he fell a little for me. I had him as a top 10 player, to be honest. I really like Peter Woods, but his athletic testing and his whole pro day combine, like latter half the draft process, was kind of a disaster to me. And because of that, you see him consistently drop out of the first round now, which is sad to me because this guy, I think he has all the talent in the world. Like I said, SD first step for a defensive tackle of his size. He shoots and bends through gaps excellently for his size as well. Elite versatility. I mean, he was playing like, honestly, he played like in the A gap. He had like almost I don't know why that's so strange. He had a decent amount of snaps in the A gap, and then he played like 50 snaps over tackle. Like they played this dude as like an edge at times. He had 150 snaps outside tackle in like the last 3 years or something. Like they literally play him all the way from nose defensive tackle to edge player. If you have any questions on his versatility, just look.
Don't forget running back, bro. Yeah, dude, he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Wait, was this 2024?
No, this was this year. He had a rushing touchdown against Boston College and a rushing touchdown against Duke.
I might have just forgot that because I feel like that would have been hard for me to miss.
Funny. He took like a decent amount of snaps at running back. It was like actually really funny.
Damn, they tried to do a kid in practice. But yeah, elite versatility, like I was saying. He has great effort and side-to-side range. Like, he makes plays all over the line, like, honestly. Like, he'll get sacks outside of tackle or outside of the tackle to, like, all the way at nose tackle, man. And his swipe move was so elite. He just swipes these guys out of the way, pushes them to the side. I mean, he has this one, I can't remember where it is. It's like this freakish play. He literally just throws the center. Like, we're talking about a 300-pound dude just throws him to the side and then just is in the face of the quarterback. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said he was the perfect player. His pass rush arsenal is very raw and limited. Outside of his swipe move and bull rush, he doesn't really have super refined hands or super refined, like, counters or moves or anything. He is super young, but he's barely 21. He's a junior player. So like I think you can obviously develop some of these things. His production overall against the better teams isn't great. He had a bad game in the ACC championship versus SMU. In 2024. In 2025, when they played SMU, it wasn't great. When they played FSU in 2024, no, that was like the worst year at FSU, so that wasn't really a good team. But like in 2025, when they played LSU this year, not a great game. South Carolina in 2024, which is their rivalry game, it was fine. It was whatever. In the college football playoff against Texas, it was just average. So he's just kind of like, meh, whatever. This isn't the biggest thing for me because like he had an average game against Texas. His game against Georgia in 2024 was fine. And I just think it was kind of like, I really wonder if he was just another victim of like Clemson being ass overall this year. It wasn't really his fault. We kind of saw it.
Yeah, I would agree.
His tackling discipline and technique needs a lot of work. I mean, this year he only had a 55.4 tackling grade. 6 missed tackles when he only had 21 solo tackles, so that's not great. And then his whole latter half of the draft process and testing portion of it was horrible. It went about as bad as it possibly could. He went from being a potential top 10 pick pretty much all season, even after the bad season. There was still potential for that, to a disaster class. I don't know. This guy should have fired his agent immediately. He shouldn't have even performed at the pro day, honestly. All it did was just expose him for kind of not being a great athlete. And he did not test well despite weighing in and losing probably almost 20 pounds. So that looks really, really bad. But as a whole, I think Peter Woods is so young and has some of the most freakish plays I've seen in this class. That as a disrupting, like, attacking defensive tackle, if you tell me that you can kind of improve his tackling and add a little bit to his pass rush arsenal, I think he's one of the best attacking defensive tackles in the NFL in like 2 to 3 years, honestly. His 2024 tape was pretty damn good, man. And this was a 20-year-old kid playing for a college football playoff team. So, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Obviously, you like him. Not as much as I do, but you still like him. I want to hear what you have to say about him as well.
Yeah, no, I really do like him. I think all 5 of my top 5 guys I would take in the first round for sure is kind of what I've settled on. The first thing I wrote for Peter Woods is how good of a burst he has off the line. And he's not fast in the long run, but his first 10 yards are really good for how big he is.
Weird how poor of an athlete he was, testing. Like he played in the season at 315.
No, I know.
Went down to almost sub 300 pounds and then still tested horribly. His vert's terrible. His broad's terrible. All his testing indicates he has 0 explosive ability after losing 15 to 20 pounds.
I know. It makes no sense.
20 pounds heavier still showcased that good of a first step. I don't know if he must have been injured during his pro day. I probably think he was. He woke up on the wrong side of the bed because he was so much better of an athlete on the field than he was on his pro day.
No. It's totally fine. It is just really weird because that is one thing that I noticed. This dude is so fast off the snap, and then after that he's just not fast at all. He's really fast in the first 10 yards, and that's it. It's just really weird. I have him over Banks and McDonald. Obviously, I wrote that I like him more than Banks because he doesn't have injury concerns really, and I like him more than McDonald because he seems to have a much higher ceiling. McDonald's kind of just like a run defender, but he's really strong against the block and great at disrupting the run. He had a bit of a down year grade-wise just because all of Clemson did, so I didn't really knock him for that. My biggest issue for him was that he has a consistent missed tackle problem. I think that can be fixed. He's still young enough, only 21. And the other biggest issue for me was he just isn't that athletic, like you said. He only had a 29-inch vert, 8'8 broad. All this was already mentioned. He doesn't have great measurables. But, honestly, I don't always like to get caught up in the measurables just because you look at his 2024 tape and it's great. There's times when you kind of just have to look at the measurables and be like, that's great. But this is a player who shows that he doesn't need the measurable. He performs very well without having elite measurables, and he showed that he can play at an elite level in 2024, and I think he can transition that to the NFL. He had great games in 2024 against Louisville. Was an amazing game. That tape is nuts. He played solid against Texas, solid against Georgia. This is all SEC competition, and he's playing out of the ACC, out of conference. Well, Louisville's not obviously SEC, but Texas and Georgia are. And then had a solid, not great, but solid game against LSU this year, even on the down year for Clemson. Played good against Georgia Tech. these are all good games, and despite his measurables, he's putting up decent numbers, and I just think that's valuable, and I think he should definitely get taken in the first round just because of that. And you can definitely fix that tackling problem. He's only 21. I mean, that's really all I got. I really like Peter Woods. I would be sad if the Vikings got him, but they might.
And I know he's one of the players that I mean, he probably is a top 3 player for me, like, in terms of who I want the Vikings to take at that position. I would probably rather have them take Christian Miller because he's higher for me, and I would probably rather have them take Dylan Thieneman if he's available because he's higher just on my board. And unless there's, like, another player that falls and they shouldn't, yeah, he's probably my 3rd player.
Well, dude, and he can take over at running back when Aaron Jones inevitably gets hurt, you know?
Right. Yeah. You're completely right, man.
Yes, dude.
But 2 things I kind of want to talk about Clemson a little bit in the sense of I seriously wonder. I don't know what the hell happened, man, because Clemson, Dabo Swinney is a good coach. He has national championship wins. He has constructed good rosters. I know that I think his sons coach some positions, which, maybe there's a little bit of nepotism going on. There shouldn't be. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of a different team. I thought that was the case, but whatever. Even if it's not, something's clearly up with Clemson as a whole because, I mean, we talk about Antonio Williams, Avion Terrell, T.J. Parker, Peter Woods. I mean, even like the
Cade Klubnik, yeah.
Klubnik, Wade Woodaz, like all these guys fell, and everyone saw that they were all talented. These are all talented players, and there wasn't not a single Clemson player that improved really at all. Like they all just got worse. Like Peter Woods, you would thought that he didn't really have good tackling in 2024, despite having a monster season. You would have thought, hey, let's improve that this year. He really only got like worse as a tackler, or if not the same. So you're just like, well, what did you improve with him, man? So I really wonder how much of that. He's still so young. I honestly just think once he gets NFL development, he could blossom. And I think Clemson might have been holding a lot of these guys back. I mean, I think the same thing about T.J. Parker and Avion Terrell. And then another thing is serious, like if I had to bet money on it, I would imagine that during this draft, like combine pro day process, I bet he was injured because like I just don't understand why you come in sub 300 and skip the combine unless you'd be injured. And then, everyone starts to question that. Why did you not come in? Why did you not perform in the combine? So you kind of forced yourself to do a pro day and you don't look good at all because, man, his tape does not show a 29-inch vertical.
Right.
He has way more explosive ability than an 8.8 broad. I'm sorry, he just does.
No, he definitely does.
This guy's first step does not correlate with a 29-inch vertical. It just doesn't. So I seriously think that in terms of his athletic profile, yes, his length isn't great or anything, and his size isn't amazing. But I would think that this is probably not what he actually tests at. And maybe I'm just biased by a player I like, but man, you watch the tape, it doesn't make sense for him to be 20 pounds heavier in season and then be still that good. I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around that if that were true. But yeah, Peter Woods. I mean, what's his range for you? Would you comfortably take him? Because for me, he's probably like 20 to 25. I like him enough that I'm fine with the Vikings taking him at 18, obviously, if that were the case.
I would say I would probably agree. I think my ceiling would be 20, and I think I would go a little bit lower and maybe say like 30 or like the end of the first round, like 32.
I think he's definitively a first-round pick. I agree. See him dropping out of the first round, really. Yeah. He's just that too valuable of a position. Defensive tackle has consistently proven over the last 3 years that it is probably the second most valuable position outside of tackle and wide receiver. It's not quarterback. These guys go. Like everyone kind of last year was like, well, is Derek Harmon going to be a first-round pick? Yeah, he went like 21 to the Steelers. Yeah. Is Tyleik Williams going to be a first-round pick? Yeah. Yes. He went whatever to the Lions. Where's Kenneth Grant going to go? 12 to the Dolphins or 13. Like, these guys go.
Like Mason Graham went almost top 5, bro. Or did he go top 5?
Nolan going to go 16 to the Cardinals, whatever it was. Like, these guys go, I promise you. Obviously, so we're going to do a little bit of a mock draft exercise for you guys. I can tell you right now, you'll see it in mine. Peter Woods, Christian Miller, and Caden McDonald, I can almost guarantee will all be in my first round mock draft that I do. Because I just, until I see defensive tackles stop getting valued, every draft they get overdrafted by their position. Every draft, man. Just like wide receivers, just like tackles, they always go. Like, there's a reason why Georgia tackle. God, why am I blanking on his name? Was 6 to the Browns. Monroe Freeling. There's a reason that there's a chance for that. So, yeah, Peter Woods. You want to talk about
Miller? Yeah,
we can literally just go into session. So Christian Miller, do you want to start with him? Do you
sure.
want me to start with him? Either way.
Yeah, I can start with him.
Sounds good.
Christian Miller, this is a guy that I've seen slip a little bit on PFF's board at least. He was like consistently in the first round for a while in like mocks and stuff. And like now I've seen him slip like all the way to the Packers at 52. I'm like, wow. I mean, I just didn't think he was going to fall that far. So I was curious to look into him a little bit more. Interior throughout each play. Yeah, 14 years this year. In 14 games, solid in pass rush, a 70 grade in pass rush, 84.5 overall grade, 82.2 in 2024, so some consistency there. 90.2 run defense grade, which is really good. He also had good games against Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss in the CFP, and Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, all of those were, I mean, one of the Bama games was a 69.7, but we can basically consider that 70 grades on PFF plus. He had an 80.4 grade against Ole Miss in the college football playoff, which is great. He did not have a single below average grade, game in 2025 or 2024, in my opinion. And yeah, he has great 6'4", 321 pounds, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands. He didn't really do any tests. I didn't look into his pro day that much, so I'm curious if he did anything. I'm not sure.
He ran a 4.940.
That's this is even better.
61st percentile, and he is one of the bigger defensive tackles. So
that's even
for his size, that's probably like almost 90th percentile. That's really good.
Yeah. So that's even better.
But it's fine. He's your defensive tackle one anyway. So
exactly. Boards.
So I watched him, and I don't know about you. Obviously, he's your one. He is definitively my one. He is easily better than Peter Woods, and easily better than.
I would agree.
I wouldn't say easily better. Like, there's not like a huge gap between him and Peter Woods, but like he is better than Peter Woods, and I don't think I will ever view it that. Like, there's some positions where I'm like, oh, I could maybe spot these guys, like David Bailey and Ruben Bain, that type of thing.
For sure.
But like, he is easily my defensive tackle one, and
I agree.
Peter Woods is like, the ceiling's maybe a little higher with Woods, but even then, I'm like, I don't know, because Miller is a really good athlete and he has a lot more size. I'll talk about him a little bit. I'll talk about him a little bit now. Like I said, great overall size and athleticism. 6'4", 321, 10-inch hands, 33-inch arms, 4'9", 40. A lot of these guys are kind of like that size, but then they're lacking length, or they have length, but then they're lacking size. No, he has it all. Like pretty much everything you want within this size of a defensive tackle in this player. He's an elite run defender who stops ball carriers in their tracks. Like literally what I love about these defensive tackles and how you can tell they're a menace in the run game is like they get a singular hand or kind of like arm bar on like these guys, and they just stop. These running backs stop. Like some of the strongest humans on the planet in the
literally
SEC, these SEC running backs just stop from one arm. Great first step for his size. A violent, active hands. I thought he was super versatile. Like could play the A gap. I did think he looked significantly better playing the B gap though. Great at holding leverage. Always in pursuit, and like he actually has some chase down plays because his speed is like better than it should be. Great block shedder. I mean, obviously has the strength to tackle these guys. Has the strength to throw these guys off of him. And then his pass rush is kind of amazing for his size. He has an 11.3 pass rush win percent rate. One of the things I did not like was that he kind of fails to turn this pass rush production into sacks. But I think that is a little bit of Georgia's system because a lot of their edges don't really get sacks either. They kind of just love to get this simulated pressure instead of actually finishing in sacks and kind of like having everybody finish together. But like he had 17 hurries in 2024, and then this year he had no sacks, but also 17 hurries again. That's pretty good for a defensive tackle, man. I'm going to be honest. He is very inexperienced. He only has like he has, I believe, a little over 800 career snaps, something along that lines. It's definitely sub 1,000 though, which it's like, he played 2 good seasons in the SEC, so it's not like that worrying for me, but it's still something to be like, a lot of these guys have almost double those snaps, so take that how you want it. His tackling is probably the worst part of his game. 47.3 tackling grade. Out
But
of 20 solo tackles, he had 5 missed.
But I will say yes, his tackling was bad this year, but last year he looked fine. Like last year he had a 72.5 grade, only 5.9% missed tackle rate. So I don't know if he just struggled a little bit more this year, but he obviously showed that
he had only one less tackle and only 2 missed. So yeah, 2024 he was a lot better. Yeah, and like honestly, when you're a guy like this, and you're only making like 20 tackles a season, all you have to do is miss 1 or 2 extra tackles, and his tackle percentage goes up so much more.
It gets really bad.
He also played 50 to 60 more snaps this year, and I know he didn't get any more tackles, but like there's a lot more opportunities to miss tackles. Let's be real. So I kind of agree with you. It wasn't like horrible. It's definitely something that still will need to be improved upon, but
for sure.
He's my DT1. It's not like I view it as like a death to his profile.
Yeah.
And he had a shoulder issue in late 2024, maybe injury profile to look at, but I mean his 2025 season was good enough that I don't think it's an issue really. But yeah, for
I would
me,
agree.
he is like his range for me right now, he's 16th on my big board. He's probably going to be, like 15 to 20 type player. He's not like an elite defensive tackle. I know last year's defensive tackle class was like really good for me. Like he was in like the 7th defensive tackle last year. That's just how good it was. But like just a really solid player. I don't ever think he'll be a superstar because his pass rush production finish rate isn't like amazing. Like I don't really think he'll ever be like an 8, 9, 10 sack DT. I mean maybe he proves me wrong. But yeah, just like really solid. I think he'll be a like above average starter in the NFL. Defensive tackle is just really hard to master, and even an above average defensive tackle will get drafted, top half of the first round because they're just needed. And I just really like the fact that he had the size, the length, he's super young, and then he can also do both of run defense and pass rush production. Everyone in this class kind of sucks at both. I will say Peter Woods was a better run defender than people give him credit for, but he did not do both of things to the level that Christian Miller did. Because Christian Miller was a better pass rusher this year and also a better run defender this year. So definitively my defensive tackle 1. I don't know how he's as low as he is on PFF.
That's kind of my thing. Yeah.
It feels like when every analyst, like Connor and Trevor from NFLAC, and then you listen to like every other major really person in the industry, and they all I feel like I consistently hear he is the best defensive tackle. So I don't really know like why PFF is bugging with that. I think he goes. It's weird because mock drafts though he doesn't go this range. Everyone has him like defensive tackle 1, but it feels like I see him way more in the second round.
No, I know,
which is weird because like,
well, dude,
I think you go to a lot of places.
That's like why I was just saying like there was the one. Like PFF does their mock drafts on this daily stock exchange, and they had one where Christian Miller went to the Packers at 52. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If I think of the draft order in my head, it's really hard for me to think he passes the Bills at like 25.
Right.
I just think, man, there's too many teams that need defensive tackle. It's so valuable. Like, I think the Vikings could draft him, and there's not that many defensive tackles in this class. Like, if the NFL views Peter Woods' latter half of, like, his combine athletic testing as bad as everyone thinks they do, it's this guy and Caden McDonald. And if you want pass rush out of your defensive tackle, it ain't coming from Caden McDonald.
Right.
I kind of struggle to think that he wouldn't get drafted high, but I mean, I guess he's also going to be super excited because like I could see him being a Viking on day 1. But then you're right. Maybe there's a world where he's a Packer at pick 50 something, So
I don't see it, but I guess I don't know.
I don't either, but apparently a bunch of other people do. So we'll see, man. But Christian Miller's my defensive tackle 1. He's your defensive tackle 1. Just a great player overall, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And now are we going to talk about Arvell Reese?
Now we have the Ohio State linebacker tandem.
Boy, 1 and 2 of our defensive tackle / linebacker hybrid rankings.
Yep.
1 and 2 of our linebacker rankings. And boy, both of these players are very, very, very good.
Yes, very good.
Reese, to me, when I think about it, it's weird because I want to have him over. So the guys I have over him, he's 7th on my big board, and that just feels wrong to say. Like, I might put him over Keldrick Falk, but I don't think he's better than Tyson, Bailey, nor Styles. But it's just weird for me to say that because he is. Oh my God, he is maybe one of the freakiest players I've ever seen. Like honestly,
he really
Styles, man. Like I don't know what they're doing at Ohio State. Holy shit!
What are they
I
feeding
go,
them?
Eat at their football cafeteria, bro. I'll just put on like 100 pounds of muscle in like fucking months.
Seriously.
Like honestly, man, what's in their smoothies? I would kill to find out.
No, it's crazy.
Because honestly, my comp for Arvo Reese is Weapon X on the line. Because, man, he
Mhm.
can do everything. Like, me and you both think he'd be a better linebacker. But honestly, like, the more shit that comes out of him training for edge, I'm like, this dude, like, the Micah Parsons route is very hard because Micah Parsons is probably very close to a Hall of Fame caliber level player. So I think that's hard to do because, you know, it is hard to do. Arvo Reese might be able to do it, man. If there's anybody who can do it again, you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it might be him.
That's why I said during our edge video, I'm like, you were saying that you didn't think he could do the Micah Parsons route. I think he low key might be able to.
Like, I still would rather play him at linebacker.
Me too. Me too.
I think I said in the edge video that what I would do is I would let him try edge, and then know at very worst you can play him at linebacker, and he's going to be a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. At very worst, like why not let him play edge? But when I think about it, I mean, man, he has everything you could want, bro.
Well, that's why I don't want him to get taken by like the Jets or something, bro. They're gonna ruin him. Like yes, or like even the Jets with Harbaugh. Like I feel like he'd be able to figure out how to use him. They don't. Well, like if they play him at linebacker.
Yeah, that's true. But I want to see if he can do it at edge. I kind of.
That's fair.
Because if he could, man, you know, let's just stop the glazing and start the profile. But like, you know, it is funny because I remember saying when we did our edge video, I was like, hey, if you think we're dogging on him as an edge, wait till you hear us talking about him as linebacker. And it just
seriously.
He is 20 years old. I think he is he the youngest player in this draft? I think he's just turned
up
20.
there. He's definitely up there.
He's younger than Trotter. He's younger than
Jermon McCoy.
Yeah, he's younger than Jermon McCoy.
Is he? Jermon McCoy's 20 and a half.
Yeah, and I think Arvo Reese is 20. Like,
okay.
I think he's 20.6.
So he's the same age as Jermon McCoy.
I actually want to see this. We're figuring out who's the youngest player in this draft. Okay, God is August 16th, 2005. That's gonna be hard to beat. That is okay. August 15th, 30th. He is younger. He's younger by like 30. So he is like 2 weeks younger than Jermon McCoy. And oh my God, he's already 6'4", 241 pounds, 10.5-inch hands, 33.5-inch arms, and ran a 4.46 40. That is a 97th percentile 40 for his time. And would be an even more elite. That would be probably close to 99 to 100th percentile at edge. Anything sub 4.5 at edge is ridiculous. And keep in mind, this dude is still 2 to 3 years from probably reaching his athletic ceiling. Yeah, like, he's only 20 and a half, bro. Bro, it is nuts. Just off of the physical tools, this guy is a top 5 pick. And then you turn on tape, like. My first thing is he's super young. His ceiling is yet to be seen, and he's already a top 5 player at that. Elite strength that allows him to bully and have his way with blockers. I mean, he has that play where he like force chokes the guy. Like it's like an outside run, and he's obviously scraping. And I think it's like I don't know if it's a pulling guard or if it's a tackle, but either way, there's an O-lineman that's double his size that tries to block him. He's holding him with one hand. Like he's force choking him. And then when the run is like perfect for him to make the tackle, he just throws the O-lineman to the side and tackles him for a loss. It's unreal. That strength, real. Who the hell blocks a tackle or a guard who's literally you're half their size with one arm? I've never seen that before. That's like a uniform play. Seriously though.
This dude's a year older than us, by the
way. That's what's so impressive to me because, like, I'm like, me and you, in terms of fitness, are already in the upper echelon of guys our age.
Right. Let's be real. I mean, we lift daily.
Probably every day. Yes, we lift daily. We have numbers, and, like, you as a distance runner, me as a sprinter and lifter, we both have numbers that most guys can't do for our age. This guy is, like, bitching us to the max, and he's older than us.
Yeah.
Like, for me, he is literally not even a year older than me. And, like, he's a top 5 NFL, like, freakiest athlete. I'm like, bro, I'm over here. I'm like, fuck, I am shit, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, has his way with blockers. Like, it's ridiculous. He has great bend and speed. his hands and strength. Like, as a pass rusher, he's going to have great bend speed, hands, and strength. Like, showcase that all as a blitzer. I mean, he had 8 sacks this year, and he, like, part-time played. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, he was more productive than some of these, like, end edges. Super high IQ, great processing speeds against the run. I mean, like, super high IQ. Right place, right time all the time. I mean, knows perfectly when to disengage with blockers. Great closing and lateral speed, and I mean great closing and lateral speed. I think he would be a top 2 quarterback spy immediately. You are never beating this guy to the sideline. I don't care.
No.
It's Jahmyr Gibbs is beating him to the sideline, and like maybe A-Chain. That's it. And even still, I don't know. He might be there to slow him down.
Yeah.
His production as a pass rusher, all and on ball as a QB spy, literally everywhere was elite. You couldn't have asked for more, honestly. 8 sacks, 6 hits, 13 hurries, a batted ball, 37 tackles, only 4 missed tackles. In coverage, he went 23 for 28, 222 yards, a pass breakup, no interceptions, but they play him so close to the line, you don't really expect it. And great tackler who lays big hits consistently, man. This guy fucking lays the wood. The only things I had is that if you are playing him as an edge player, he is raw because he only had so he actually isn't as raw as I thought he was because he had 327 outside the tackle snaps, but I believe it was like half of that where he was actually pass rushing. So he only had like sub 200 pass rusher snaps, which is actually like way more than Micah Parsons had. So, you know, if you're worried about that, I had someone point that out to me one time. And then deep coverage, like anything past 10 yards, you know, not great coverage-wise. But, like, honestly, you're never really playing this dude past that. Like, I don't know why you would. It's just not who he is. And the fact that even that's his weakness and he's fine at it is just...
Yeah.
He's only 22. Like, if you wanted that, you could probably develop it in him, too. Like, let's be real. Because he has all the other traits, like the high IQ. Then, man, like... 2024 versus Michigan game. 2020, let's see. The one thing that I was a little worried about is in some of the bigger games, he kind of didn't look amazing. 2024 versus Tennessee, not great. Against Miami, not great. In the Rose Bowl versus Texas or Oregon, in the Cotton Bowl versus Texas last year, not great. In the Natty, he didn't play that great. Against Indiana last year, didn't play great, and against Oregon in their regular game and in Penn State, he didn't look great. But I will say, all the games that he didn't look great in were in 2024, where he predominantly wasn't. The games that he didn't play good in, which I just listed, were in 2024, and they played him so much differently this year. And keep in mind, that was his first year starting as like a 19-year-old, so I wouldn't look into it that much. Usually, I'm very critical on that, and didn't think that was the biggest issue. So I know I just talked a ton about him and probably said about as much as there is to say. What did you have anything to add, man? Because Jesus, he's just such a good fucking player.
I don't know if I have anything to, like, you literally like hit everything I wanted to say, bro. Yeah, like this dude is just a freak athlete. He's insane. I literally compared him to like Nick Benito or Will Anderson, bro. I think he could be like. I don't even think it's crazy, honestly.
But Benito is, well, it's funny because Benito's a great player, but I think he's better. I think Reese is better.
He might be.
I mean, y'all just saw the news of Will Anderson, man. 3 years, $150 million. That's the player we're comparing him to. Jesus.
Yeah, dude, he seriously, like... and the craziest part is he's our second linebacker.
That's true. That is... Yeah, the glaze fest that you just saw, hold your horses. It gets worse.
We still have Sonny to go, bro.
But that's what I'm saying, man. I have to say, for how much shit this draft gets, and I will say, after Reese, for me, the player directly after him on my big board is Mansour Delane. Huge tier gap.
My goodness, yeah.
Like, huge tier. Because, like, I think Arvo Reese, Keldrick Falk, Tyson Bailey, Downs Bane, and Sonny Styles could all be superstars, like, easily. But then after that, it's just a bunch of guys who I think could be, like, above average starters.
Right.
So this draft is still weak, but I do have to say the top, like, 7 of this draft, I haven't really gotten to the linemen, so yeah, maybe like I put Fano or Maui go in this range too. But yeah, they are really good. A lot of them just are at weaker positions, like linebacker, safety, or they kind of have a deficiency, like Bane with his arms or Tyson with his injuries that just kind of like still hurts his class overall. But yeah, Arvo Reese at 7, man, kind of just shows this cream of the crop of the draft, I think, is actually decent.
He's my 5. I only have 4 players above him, so like I still think he's a top 5 player currently. I mean, I guess I haven't done O-line, but he's nuts.
I think I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm doing? He's at 7 right now. I'm moving him a spot over Keldrick Falk.
I just think I know I'm like the highest person on Keldrick Falk ever, but when I really think about it, I do think that he's better than Keldrick Falk just because it feels wrong having him at 7 for what they bring to the table, man. I just think which is crazy to say someone's freakier than Keldrick Falk, but Reese might be freakier than Keldrick Falk.
He might be.
But yeah, is it number one player in the class time?
The freaking stills, bro.
Wade Woodaz, guys. All right, from Clemson.
Diego Pavia.
Diego Pavia.
Oh god.
Jack Stonehouse, punter from Syracuse. All right, number one.
Boom.
All right.
Come
so
on.
do you want to start with Styles?
I would love to.
Okay, yeah, because I just yapped off about Reese, and I probably will about Styles once you're done. But
I would love to get it off my chest
because he's tied for your number one player, right? 2 as well, right? Or
yeah,
no, he's at 2 for you. I thought because isn't Bailey your 1?
He is, but I might put Sonny over him. I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying. All right, but Sonny, I'm just gonna read what I wrote because I think I perfectly encapsulated it. Styles is very easily the best linebacker in this class, like very easily. Unless if you're including Arvell, it's closer, but I'm still taking Sonny. Incredible against the run, blitzing the quarterback, and in coverage as well. Excellent at filling the gap and reading the play as it is unfolding. Great closing speed and pursuit, along with ridiculous size, length, and athleticism. Styles has an extremely high floor and ceiling. Like, he really doesn't have any downsides, in my opinion. I think he should be a top 5 pick easily, just based off his skills. If I had to nitpick an issue, it would to question how much he benefits from OSU's like overall good team. But that's like I put a question mark after that because like I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
and we
it
had
seems
that
like
conversation about Arvell Reese when we talked about him as an edge, I think.
Yeah, like that would be the only thing I would nitpick. But just to go over some of his measurables here: 6'5", 244 pounds, almost 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, 4'4", 640, 43.5-inch vertical, 11.2 broad, straight 10 RAS score, and he's only 21. And he's only 21.
Yeah.
He had an 88.6 overall grade in 2025, 91.6 tackle grade. 91.6 tackle grade. He only missed 2.2% of his tackles, and he had 88 tackles.
Yeah. And by the way, the 2 missed tackles were at the very end of the season against Mark Fletcher, probably round 1 or 2 running back in the Natty.
I think, yeah, because he missed 2. He missed 2 tackles this whole season. They were both against Miami. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and it was Mark Fletcher, who is elite.
Yes, that is insane. 87.4 run defense grade, 86.9 coverage grade. He had 47 like total stops, like where he stops the offense completely. 33 in 2024. So he had 90 total stops in 2 years. He had 34 pressures this year, 34 pressures, 8 sacks, and 24 hurries since 2024. And that's being predominantly not a pass rusher. He has had 2,100 snaps in his career, 1,200 of them in the box. And I did write down at the bottom that both of his missed tackles came against Miami in the playoffs. But that, again, that's against Mark Fletcher. Like, when you only miss 2.2% of your tackles, bro, I think you can miss a few.
Well, let's be real. If Ohio State wasn't good enough to go there, he would have had perfect tackles. So
he literally would have had 0.0% missed tackle rate.
Yeah, unfortunately, he made this defense legitimately one of the best college defenses of all time and put them in the playoffs. So I guess, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, his stats this year: 88 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 3 PBUs. I mean, dude, I don't even know what else to say. He's incredible. He should probably go 101, but he won't because of Fernando Mendoza and other pressing needs because he's a linebacker. Positional value just isn't high. Whoever gets him, man. I mean,
there's a few conversations I want to have that we had kind of in like private about him. 2 that stuck out to me was that if next year he is by the end of the year immediately the linebacker 2, would you be surprised? And I think we both said no. The only linebacker I don't see him being able to be better than is Fred Warner, who even still is coming off an ankle injury and could have a down year where if Sonny Styles is the number 1 linebacker, kind of like what Brock Bowers did in his rookie year, who was also like a 1-of-1 talent, would it surprise you? And I think we both said no. Like, this guy is elite in that sense. And then another thing we talked about was he projects as a Fred Warner type linebacker who has Hall of Fame level potential and a deploy caliber skill as a rookie. I think he could be a defensive player of the year caliber player as a rookie because, like we just said, I think he could be the best linebacker as a rookie. And then I forget, well, there was something else I was going to. Oh, yeah, my thing is he a perfect prospect? Genuinely. Because I could not find a downside with him. Obviously, he isn't perfect in the sense of like he does everything perfect.
Right.
You know, no one does. But like in the terms of when I was making his profile, I could not find a weakness. I couldn't. He was the only player in this class that I could not. Because even, the thing that a lot of people like to nitpick is that he can't play deep coverage. I disagree. I think he can play deep coverage fine. And the fact that he used to be a safety, I think is like if he obviously has the IQ and the chops and the experience to do that. So that the fact that that's his biggest weakness for some people, I didn't think that was a weakness. But yeah, I think he projects as a captain of the defense alien. Instantly. I think he is probably for most teams instantly one of their best defensive players, if not their second best defensive player. For a lot of the teams in the top 5, he definitely is. I mean, he would instantly be the best defensive player on the Jets, the Titans, the Giants, easily the Cardinals, easily the Raiders. Well, Max Crosby, actually. But even still, he's injured, so I don't even know if he's going to play this year. But, man, yeah, does everything. Great blitzer, great in zone, great against the run. One-of-one athlete, .00 relative athletic score. Super young player, so it's only going to get better. I mean, like, he is the most athletic linebacker to ever come out of the draft. 6'5", 245, and then he has a 4.46 Bro, that should not be possible. That is so big, and he is so fast and jumps so high. I remember I had this conversation. It's funny to me why, Arvo Reese gets talked about moving to the edge. And I get that's because Ohio State played him there. But I think if you swapped their roles, I think Sonny Styles can also play edge.
I think Sonny Styles could do whatever he wanted.
I think he could play safety and he'd be fine. I mean, obviously, he's fast enough to play safety. He's probably a little bit too big, but then you're like, well, actually, his 40 is good enough that he probably could keep up with it. And he can jump high enough that he'd be like an insane, lurker. But you're right. I agree, man. I mean, he has the build to play virtually every position on defense outside of nose tackle and defensive tackle in general.
I think he could play nose tackle. I'm not going to lie, bro.
He's lacking about 70 pounds, but if there's
put him there, bro.
Yeah, fuck it. But I mean, honestly, I think if Ohio State gave him these snaps to play outside tackle like they did Arvo Reese, obviously just Arvo Reese filled that role for him because he was already, kind of that linebacker from the 2024 year. I think he could have done it, man. I mean, he has the perfect size. He's literally just bigger, freakier of an athlete than Arvo Reese, which is insane to say that.
It feels wrong.
I mean, Arvo Reese is a year younger, so give him a year in the weight room and, maybe he's putting up these numbers. I'm sure he is. But, number one player in the class. I mean, I think he is a little bit better than Ruben Bain just because he is built so much better. I would say Bain's talent is better than Styles's. I was more impressed on the field with what I saw on tape than Bain. Mm-hmm. Obviously, his position's way more important. But I do think at the end of the day, because how he's built, Sonny Styles is a better player if I had to pick. And then Caleb Downs is also close, but he just Styles is just way freakier of an athlete.
Yeah.
And way better measurables. So I think he's better than that. But man, yeah, he is my number one player, easily. You draft him, anything you want from him, he can do. Anything. And, me and you, we say that, we mean it, man. I would be floored if he was not a top 5 rookie next year, performance-wise. I'd be floored. He would have to get injured or something for that to be the case. And even so, he has 0 injury history. So
exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing. Looking for downsides, no injury history. What more can you ask for?
Legitimately, he has almost 2,000 career snaps played. He's so smart. He killed all his interviews. Literally everyone who came out of interviews with him said he was one of the smartest players they ever talked to. Obviously, everyone at Ohio State, which is the program nowadays, raved about him, said he is one of the best players this program has ever seen, one of the best athletes Ohio State has ever seen. That's insane. I think of all the elite guys that have come out of there. But I mean, man, they're not lying. That's the craziest thing. These are insane claims, and they're not lying. So, no. Yeah, he is just literally one of one, alien. I don't really know what else there is to say, man. But him and Arvo Reese, Ohio State, if you want to be a good anything, go to Ohio State because they just produce fucking everything. But linebackers and wide receivers especially, man, they just churn out.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. But I guess, I don't have anything else to say about Styles. Like I said, Hall of Fame level potential. If I had to bet on a player in this class to make the Hall of Fame, it would be Sonny Styles. It just would.
I would agree.
I think he's the highest ceiling player, or the highest floor player in this class, and then also has one of the highest ceilings in this class. So yeah, man, that's our linebacker and defensive tackle ranking. I thought the linebacker class at the top was pretty good. The rest of it was Defensive tackle class as a whole was kind of just for me. Overall, this is a solid group. You know, me and Isaac, the last like 4 videos we have done have all been defensive, just because it is a much better defensive class straight up. But we plan to do kind of like an offensive type video tomorrow, hopefully, where we talk about, you know, the top tight ends, like maybe the top 2-3 tight ends, top couple running backs, and then hopefully get some of the quarterbacks in there. And then we're not going to make a video out of it simply because we don't have time, but we are going to do each our own mock drafts and kind of compare them as like a little competition, who can get the most picks right. I have a kind of a grading system I want to come up with that I'll run by you later. But that should be a fun video. And then obviously, man, we'll be covering everything after the draft too. Grades, I'm sure we'll do grades and fits. Off-season rankings I would love to do.
Oh, it'll be great. We're gonna have so much content.
And then, you know, I'm hyped to get into 2027 summer scouting, man. Maybe do a way too early mock draft in the next couple of weeks, because next year's class is going to be elite too. So, hey, I know that once the draft is over, you might be like, why are you sticking around to watch a draft content channel? But we have a ton of stuff that I think I'm super excited for, man.
There's always draft content. There's always draft content
year round, man. I don't care if the draft is fucking 364 days away. There's still draft content.
There's still draft content, bro.
And yeah, I know we both didn't watch that many guys in this class. This was kind of an experience for both of us this year. We're just happy to get started. And next year we hope to have way more guys to watch, way more video, way more content. But we just kind of started too late in the process. Thank you guys for watching. We will have our offensive video out soon. And this is the Neutral Zone, man.
Yes, sir.